All right. If I have everybody's attention, I call the Planning Commission to order. I've determined we have a quorum. We have 5 present, 2 that are absent. So with that, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor Notice, do you mind leading us?
Join that pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank y'all. The minutes have been provided. I will entertain a motion once everybody is sufficient after they've read them.
Move to approve.
I have a question.
Oh.
Okay.
But we can, we already approved the minutes on April 12th.
Are these April 12th minutes?
Is that right? So if you read the minutes of the last meeting, it says that the
At the April 19th meeting, you approved the April 12th minutes?
yes, yeah, it actually says that we approved it, but so I don't know if we need to.
Catch in the minutes, so yes, it's not necessary to reapprove the April 12th minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
these second ones.
Yeah, this was the first one was for the
Yes.
19th.
For the 19th, okay.
All right, you move.
Yes.
Is there,
I'll second.
Paul
yeah.
seconds. All right, all those in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
Aye. That's right.
All those opposed? All right. So do we need to do one for the 12th? Or we're fine? We're good. All right. All right, reports from officers or staff.
Thank you. Mary Samaniego, just 2 quick items to bring you up to speed on. At your next Planning Commission meeting on June 21st, I'll be bringing 2 text amendments for you. The first text amendment is regarding staff duties and responsibilities. Our department was reformatted and reorganized in 2020 and with new staff and new titles, and those new staff and titles need to be reflected in the zoning code and the subdivision control ordinance. So that'll be coming before you at the June 21st meeting. The other text amendment I'll be bringing before you is back in 2018, a text amendment was done by this Planning Commission and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to reorganize uses between the C1 and the C2 zoning districts, and and redefining uses. When that occurred, one use, which is self-storage warehouses, was taken out of the C2 district but was not placed in any new zoning district. So that use has disappeared, and we have a client that wants to develop a self-storage use, and there's no zoning district to place him. So I will be...
We've been building those everywhere. Yeah, they need to fit somewhere.
So I will be doing an analysis on that and bringing a proposed text amendment before you at the next meeting. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mary. All right, anything else? All right, with that, there is no old business. I'll move to new business. So we have zoning map amendments. So there was 3 of those with public hearings. So with that, the first one is zoning map amendment 249 request. This is a request to rezone of 109 and 115 West Vine Street from R1 to C2. So we open with the public hearing. So is there anybody that would like to speak about this particular one? All right. If not, then does the applicant have anything they would like to say? No? All right. Then I guess, can we hear a report, Mary?
Yes, sir. Can we please go to the PowerPoint production? Thank you. Again, this is a rezoning for ZMA 249. It's a rezoning from R1, low-density residential 1, to general commercial C2. Here is a zoning map and a location map of the subject property. You can see that it's in the same block as the intersection of Lincoln and West Side. The next map that we're looking at is a comprehensive plan land use map. The red color that you're looking at, and again, the subject property is in black, is proposed to be commercial development. So this entire area is specifically including this property is slated or planned to go to a commercial zoning district. Based on that, the existing use is non-conforming use, a pet grooming business. It's my understanding that the applicant wants to continue with some sort of pet grooming business. However, understand with any rezoning, any allowable use, which I provided to you in your packet on page 6, that's allowed in the C2 zoning district could be on this property. Saying that, staff recommends a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen based on the findings of fact found on page 7 of your report.
All right. I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
All right. Alderman Blackwell, and it sounded like Mayor Knowles just beat you in there.
Quick.
All right. Open for discussion. Any discussion amongst board members? All right. I will call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. We are sending a favorable motion to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. All right. Number 2, zoning map amendment 250 request. This is a request of 609 Cornish Street from R2 to a C2, and the applicant is Legacy Ventures. So I'm opening this up for a public hearing if anybody'd like to speak. All right, close the public hearing. Applicant, if the applicant's here, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
No, we not, but you need to.
Okay, thank you. Mary?
Thank you again. This is Mary Samaniego for the record. This is EMA 250. It's a rezoning request for the property located at 609 Cornish Street. It's a request to rezone to the C2 zoning district. The property is approximately 0.20 acres. It's currently occupied by non-conforming use, which is office. The subject property lies along a local road, which is Cornish Street, but it's in the immediate vicinity of Carroll. Here is the subject property in the zoning map. The yellow color that you're seeing, the subject property is outlined in black. In the yellow color that you're seeing is the R2 zoning district. So there's a little pocket of residential zoning in this area, broader area of commercial development along Carroll and Anderson. Here is a comprehensive plan map. Again, the subject property is outlined in black. Similar to the last case we had, this larger area is all slated to be rezoned and developed for commercial uses. Being that the applicant is requesting a C2 zoning district, staff is recommending a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen based on the findings of fact found on page 20.
All right, thank you, Mary. Entertain a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we got there. That's Alderman Blackwell and Mr. Sandlin. All right, any discussion amongst the board? With that, I will call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, now let's do zoning map amendment 251. That is request to rezone 407 North College Street from R2 to R3. So this is a public hearing. Would there anybody that would like to speak on the rezoning of this property? All right, with that, I will close the public hearing. Is the applicant available? All right, it does not look like the applicant is here. Okay. Mary, if you would give a report.
Thank you, Mary Samaniego, for the record. Again, as stated, the property is located at 407 North College. The rezoning request is from R2 to R3. The property is currently 7.5 acres and is occupied by a multifamily residential project, 3 buildings, which are considered non-conforming. They're non-conforming because in the R2 zoning district, multifamily is not a permitted use. In order for the property and the property owner to further develop this site with additional multifamily units, a rezoning would have to occur to put the property into a zoning district that allows for multifamily development, which is the request to R3. It is located in the northwestern quadrant of the city with frontage on North College Street, which is a local street, and the immediate area is a mix of different types of residential uses, being single-family residential, multifamily residential, and some apartments. The comprehensive land use plan map shows the property in the medium-density residential area and within the urban area, sub-area of Tullahoma's comprehensive plan. This land use category is encouraging developments with a medium density or higher density in Tullahoma's case to allow for multifamily development at a higher density than what would be allowed in the R1. Considering the site is already developed with a multifamily use, the expansion of additional units and additional structures would be in keeping in character with the existing development pattern of the area. Saying that, staff is recommending approval based on the findings of fact found in your staff report.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
I would entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve.
All right, I'll second. All right, Mr. Schwer and Mr. Sandlin. All right, opening it up for discussion amongst the board.
I had actually had a question for the applicant I'd asked, actually, Ms. Samaniego quite a few questions beforehand, which she answered to where I felt comfortable voting for this. But I wanted to ask one other question of them just to see, because I was trying to get a feel for the apartment buildings as a whole and what was happening with them in general, but they're not here today. And I know that Ms. Samaniego requested that everybody come today, and I was wondering if, is that something that we expect, or is it something that if we wanted to ask them questions, could we reach out to them?
Typically, the applicant is supposed to represent themselves at the meeting, at the planning commission meeting, and I do send out the packets, and I think I actually did call this applicant. I'll let the city attorney speak as to whether you can contact them outside of the meeting setting.
It's not required that they be here for this public hearing. I think the Board of Aldermen could request that he be at the board meeting when we consider this, if we get a favorable recommendation from the planning commission.
Okay.
Because there may be other questions that people want to ask as well about this property.
Great.
This is known as the Country Club Apartments. Y'all probably know where it is. It's been there for a long, long time. We must have rezoned that at some time and perhaps erroneously not put this in the correct category, but anyway, it's a pretty perfunctory thing, I think, but I think there may be some questions that we want to ask him.
And my questions were super simple. Like, essentially, I was trying to get more idea of, because people are wanting affordable apartments in our area, and I wanted to get an idea of how much they cost, et cetera. And I was looking for a website, looked through their Facebook page, didn't see anything at all. And I was just wondering if there was any way we could get more information just in general for our community. So it's not really, doesn't change how I'm planning on voting in this situation, but I just was wanting to get some information to share.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
if I may, It has been a practice that when an applicant has not appeared, that we have deferred to the following meeting before we actually approve that.
That has happened in the past. Yes, sir.
I worry about doing that with this because we do have such a need right now for this housing. Would this push him, because if he doesn't show up at the next one, technically we have to vote it up or down regardless because, right, because then it's at the 60 days. And I don't want to slow him down.
Okay.
I'd not like to do that either, but I have found that when we take shortcuts and when we don't follow our standard practices, that we kind of wish we had. So let's just offer that.
Mary?
Mary Samaniego, if I may, I think it's at your pleasure. Per the city attorney, it's not a requirement that they're here. So, I mean, I understand it's if you want to get testimony from them to make your decision, that's one thing, but I don't think that we're necessarily violating any sort of rules of procedure if you do proceed. And I can certainly make a point of reaching out to them and ensure, or try to ensure that they're present at the board meeting at first reading.
Which, yes, I guess that's a little bit different. Some of the things we do have that we require them to be here are things that we approve, we keep in-house. This is at least has an extra layer of approval that can be held upon them to be very important to show up. If that makes sense? So, any other discussion? With that, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the favorable mention to the mayor, board, and alderman for rezoning 407 North College Street from R2 to R3. All those say aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
No. Okay. All right, that motion passes 4-1. All right, now we move to subdivision plats, public hearings.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Are y'all going to improve the roads and stuff over there? Because it's more traffic.
That's actually not,
Well,
we were just doing the rezoning, so that has nothing to do with the road conditions of that area.
you're gonna rezone it, you're gonna have traffic over there.
Well, it's our, as it stands, we're not really rezoning it for anything. It's still apartment buildings there, where there was just in the wrong zoning. It said they couldn't have apartment buildings there. So now that,
No plan to minutes,
not at this time that I mean, that's not, this is not the same, that would be your Board of Mayor and Alderman question, not a Planning Commission question.
And if you'd like, we can get your email or contact information, and we can find out what the grade is of the zones, the streets, and let you know how far on the list it is.
if you're gonna bring it for rezoning, then you know you're gonna build, there's gonna be more traffic.
No. But I understand the question, but that's not really a question for here. That would be more of a Board of Mayor and Alderman question. All right. All right. So moving on to the next one, we have subdivision plat, Swan, Rutledge Falls Road 2, minor subdivision plat. All right. If, that is to create 4 residential lots, existing 5 acres on Rutledge Falls Road. Public hearing, is there anybody that here would like to speak on this? All right, I will close that, and the applicant? All right, if you'd like
Normally,
to
that's
speak.
not a good thing when they get up and walk out of the room
No,
and step
no,
up
that
to
just
the
means
mic.
that what they've asked is gone, and it happens quite regularly. So, nothing new. Yes, sir.
This was a minor division.
Would you
plat-
state your name and address?
Oh, excuse me, I'm Nicholas Northcutt with Northcutt Surveying.
Okay.
And I'm representing Mr. Swan on this.
Okay, thank you.
We had actually submitted this last month, but had a couple of issues with the soils that we had to get worked out. And so since that time, we have worked with Mr. Charbonneau and have revised the soil areas and whatnot, and have revised the plats and got Mr. Charbonneau's signature on the plats here this evening. So,
Thank you. Mary?
Thank you. The applicant is requesting a 4-lot minor subdivision at the southwest corner of Rutledge Falls Road and Greenwood Road in the urban growth boundary area. Can we go to production? Can we go? Thank you. Here is a location map. Again, it's in the urban growth boundary area. It's currently zoned Coffee County RS1. Here is a layout of the proposed subdivision. No new improvements are required nor requested. All of the lots meet the minimum lot size and standard for the RS1 zoning district. There are no waivers or variances being requested. There are only a couple minor changes to the subdivision plat after approval, but before signatures to be corrected. Saying that, the staff recommends approval of the final site plan, subject to all staff conditions and comments.
All right. I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
All right.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Alderman Blackwell and second from Mr. Sandlin. Any discussion amongst the board?
We do have TDEC approval now. Is that, okay.
In
That's-
hand.
All right.
All
You
right.
can hit us with it.
Yeah.
If that, I will call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank y'all. That motion passes. All right. Marino, minor subdivision plat, that's going to create 1 residential lot from 42 existing acres on 506 Carter Blake Road.
You said that's one, too.
So, once again, I will open it for the public hearing. Anybody like to speak on this? All right, I'll close the public hearing, and then, yes, sir, if you'll state your name again, and,
there again, Nicholas Northcutt, and I'm representing Ms. Marino on this. And, you know, y'all may be familiar with this farm, and we had discussed it at the, of course, the Wednesday morning meeting. They've got 42 acres with 3 houses on it, and so they're just carving off one of those residences with an existing house and septic and all that good stuff. So it would just be a 1-lot minor.
All right, thank you. Mary?
Thank you, Mary Samaniego. For the record, again, creating one lot out of an existing 42-acre piece. Here's the subject property. It is located at 506 Carter Blake Road in the urban growth boundary of Coffee County. The current zoning is RS1. Here is the property that's being requested to be split. Again, the larger property is over 42 acres. Per Tennessee statute, if a lot is created that's 5 acres or greater, it does not have to go through local planning authority. So that's why we're not seeing the remaining 39 acres. The plat is only for the 3.14 acres with the existing house and outbuildings. It meets all of the standards of the RS1 zoning district, and there's only one minor change to the minor plat prior to signatures. Saying that, staff recommends approval with that staff condition.
Entertain a motion?
Move to approve with staff comment, I think is what we have to say.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right, that's Alderman Blackwell and Mr. Schwaber. All right, I'm opening that up for discussion. Any discussion? All right, then, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approval with staff conditions, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank you for your time.
All right. And now we are at number 3, Lakeside Crossing, major subdivision plat. A plat to create 23 residential lots from 15.5 acres on the northeast corner of Avoca Road and Country Club. All right, with that, I will open the public hearing. Anybody would like to speak? All right, I'll close the public hearing. The applicant, if you don't mind.
Hello, my name's Andy Best. I'm a land surveyor. I was hired to do this project. Address 273 Haynes Hollow Road, Winchester, Tennessee. What we're presenting in front of this board today is a new residential subdivision with newly constructed roads, 23 lots, all much larger than the minimum size for R1. The development is hopefully going to be a very desirable neighborhood for those that would like to have access to the country club, the golf course, and potential access to the lake Tullahoma. These lots are all, if you're familiar with Tullahoma, you go down Avoca Road to the Riley Creek Road split. You continue to the right at the split. You turn right on Country Club Drive like you're going back towards the golf course. And all this property is, if you look out your left window, is on your left side. It goes from there, from the intersection, all the way up to Setter's Point subdivision. Of course, there are 23 lots, and we're seeking approval tonight from the board. And if you have any questions, I'm available. I also have 2 representatives from Heartland Family Partners here with me that could potentially answer any other questions.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
All right, Mary?
Thank you, Mary Samaniego. For the record, again, as Mr. Best stated, it's a preliminary plat for major subdivision for 23 lots on an existing 15.58 acres. Here is the entire subject property. Bear in mind that tonight's application is only looking at, I'd say, the southern 40% of the site. The remaining northern 60% of the site will be coming at a future date when those plans have been formulated. Here is the layout of the subject property. As you can see, the southern lots are along Country Club Drive with direct frontage along them. They are proposing 2 new road segments, the first one leading up to the north, culminating or ending in a roundabout that the developer will be installing, and then going directly to the east for the second road that ends in a cul-de-sac. A couple of things that I will point out with this subdivision. Again, the bottom lots will all be coming off a Country Club. Then you go along the new road, there's a roundabout. You'll see a stub roads that will be constructed by the developer to the north for future phases of this development, as well as to the west per the City of Tullahoma subdivision control ordinance, because the properties to the west of this site, but east of Avoca Road are several very large properties that could be developed into subdivisions at some future time. So per your connectivity index, it's appropriate to stub into that larger undeveloped land for a future subdivision to connect all the roads in. So this is an example of very good connectivity. This has the code requires 1.4 connectivity index, this has a 3, because you've got 2 connecting stub outs to adjoining properties. So just as an example of what the connectivity index is supposed to happen, very good design, that's what we're getting here. So we can connect further to the north as well as to the west and reestablish a grid network. Other than that, another unique and interesting element to this project, beyond having frontage on the lake for those specific residents, there are, in the red, you can see kind of traversing the property, going southwesterly, there will be golf cart routes for golf cart connectivity from this site, presumably at some point at Cross Country Club to get into the golf course. So that's an added feature of this subdivision that the developer is proposing as opposed to being required by code. Saying that there are no waivers being requested or required or variances, and there are just some minor changes to the site plan from the city engineer that have already actually been submitted to staff and or rectified those issues. They're just minor changes. Saying that the staff has recommends approval of the preliminary plat based on staff comments.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
All right, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, I have Mayor Novis and Alderman Blackwell. All right, discussion.
I had a question for Mary that she had answered, but I think it's more appropriate for when it comes back with the actual, when they come back with the, what's it called?
Final plat.
Final plat.
Final plat.
Yeah, so that's it.
Is there plans to have a northern terminus on Avoca Road in future phases?
Is there a northern terminus on Avoca
Or
Road?
would it be western?
I don't
Okay.
believe that there is a
But there's no north on this map here, so I don't.
I can't say.
Okay.
They haven't submitted any future development plans. I would suspect so.
Yeah, it's by the Senator Bowling's house.
Yeah. I was
Any other
looking at this and
questions?
was like, oh, thank God I can